All right, so me and Susanna are making this video to show you how ridiculous the YouTube strikes are and the way our channel is being treated. Because, like, a lot of people might think that this is complaining over something that maybe we're exaggerating how ridiculous it is. And to be honest, I don't blame people, because I've seen some people who complain about being demonetized or getting a strike, and sometimes it's just a second. But sometimes you can see that there is a community guideline strike that they violated, right? So, but I think anybody, like, this is, I want to show you this because I think anybody looking at why we're getting a strike, I think anybody can tell, like, even the people who are usually on the side of, like, oh yes, this is racism, this is hate speech, and you guys think it's not justified, but it was justified. I think even the biggest people who supporting these community strikes, if they look at what's happening to our channel, they would see, like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And so again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be following community guidelines. I think that's completely fine. But honestly, I haven't seen any channel being treated the way our channel is being treated. Like the things that is being passed as spreading propaganda or hate speech. Okay, like, it's not just that. Oh, maybe some people could see it as hate speech. It's just, it was the exact opposite. Like, so for people who don't know, we had our first warning strike on a video that was, again, fighting people who were promoting, like, there was a Catholic church, right, that was anti COVID vaccine and stuff like that, right? And we were reporting on that. We weren't saying that the Catholic Church, we weren't promoting the ideas of that Catholic Church. We were just reporting it. Like, they were spreading misinformation about the COVID vaccine, and we were just reporting it. And we didn't, obviously, we're an atheist channel. We weren't promoting that Catholic Church. Not only we weren't promoting that, we were actually saying, like, people should appeal to experts. In fact, even in our attack on the Catholic Church, we put a disclaimer to say, like, by the way, we're not experts, appeal to the experts, right? And we were saying, first of all, this Catholic Church is spreading propaganda. People, so yeah, but we weren't being conspiratorial ourselves. Susanna, you wanted to say something?
Well, within YouTube's guidelines surrounding spreading medical misinformation, which is what we got the warning for,
Right.
They have specific policies regarding COVID-19, and some of them are including, like, you promote things that are or try to discredit the WHO guidelines, and we were doing the exact opposite.
We were doing the exact opposite.
Advocating for following the WHO guidelines.
Yeah, you can see in the video that we were doing the exact opposite. And then we appealed that strike, and within seconds, the appeal was rejected. No way anybody could have reviewed our appeal, right? So now we also got another strike, okay? And this one is for hate speech. And for people who think that maybe we're exaggerating how ridiculous this is, we're going to watch the video that we got a strike for, and we're also going to go through the appeal process. So for you guys to see what happens behind the scenes. And another thing I wanted to mention is that this strike that we got, first of all, now we can't upload anything on our Atheist Republic channel for a week. We can't stream, we can't upload, we can't even post in the community tab to let people know where to come and find us. They don't let us even, they completely disconnect us from our audience, right? So we can't even tell them what's happening. But the second strike now that happened was because we were demonetized, right? Our channel was demonetized, and we had to apply for reapproval for monetization, right? So we applied. They said it's going to happen within a month. It took them 2 months. 2 months to review it, right? So 2 months of like ad money not coming in. And after 2 months of review, by the way, before we applied, we took down around, I think, 500 videos. 500 videos that we have made. More than, like, let's say, okay, I don't know exactly, but around, let's say, at least 500 videos, like videos that we have created, worked on, published in the past like decade, right? And basically went, and it's a lot of them that we really loved, but we didn't know, like, in the approval process, we like, could this be considered hate speech? And they weren't. None of them were hate speech, but anything that could even remotely, like, we're like, somebody that is not going to spend much time looking at the video just because of the title or just because of the nature of topic. Videos that we loved, videos that we worked for, videos that we had like fond memories of, things, that content that we had created, like we deleted these videos. We took them out of our channel, and we're like, we wanted to be very careful. We went overly sensitive to make sure that there's nothing left that that YouTube might consider hate speech, right? Even if there was a remote chance that this could be hate speech, even though it was not, we deleted it, right? Even though we didn't want to, because we loved these videos, right? And we worked for them, right? And then it took 2 months for them to check the reapproval process. And then once finally they answered, the answer was like, you weren't reapproved. You still have hate speech, even though we stripped the channel from like a lot of our videos. And by the way, here's the strike, because apparently when they were going through the approval process, they looked at our videos, and so they said no to the remonetization, and they said, not only we're not going to monetize your channel, we're going to give you a strike on hate speech. And we're like, how is this possible? We removed everything that could even the dumbest, like the most, even if somebody's spending 2 seconds on a video, anybody, like, there's no way we miss anything that could have been potentially hate speech. So we're like, what is this video? So here's the strike, and we want to watch it together to see what is this video that these people have considered hate speech. Okay. So active community guidelines. By the way, yeah, so let me show you the monetization part. So the strike and monetization, I hope people understand that this is different, right? So yeah, our reviews, so they reviewed our channel. Our reviews found that your channel contains the following: content that focuses on controversial issues that is harmful to viewers. Okay. Sure. Let's see. And by the way, so the reason why we think that the strike came because of us applying for monetization is because it happened right at the same time. So we got the notification that we weren't reapproved while getting a strike. So we think
they were a day.
No, they were the same. Like within yeah. There was same time. So this is why we think, like, now we can reapply again. Like, if you see, we can reapply again in a month, right? But we don't even know if we want to reapply, because what does it mean? Like, every time we apply for monetization, they're going to go through our videos, and they might find something that is give us another strike. Like, do you understand? Like, telling YouTube, like, okay, now by the way, now we're going to go and remove another 200 videos, right? Because of this, to reapply, right? But reapplying means that they're going to strike another thing as a hate speech, and we might lose the entire channel if they keep
we're
doing
actually
it, right?
putting ourselves at risk.
Yeah, we're putting ourselves at risk at losing the channel by applying for monetization, right? But let's see what did they find that was so horrible that they had to actually give us a strike, right? So here's the strike, right? This is 1 out of 3. So guys, the first strike that was about that COVID stuff, that was that's the first strike you get on YouTube doesn't count, right? It's a warning strike. So the second strike, that now it's a hate speech strike, this goes 1 out of the 3, and if you have 3, you lose the channel. Okay, so it says your content was removed due to violation of our community guidelines. You won't be able to do anything like upload, post, or live stream for 1 week. It says 6 days is left. So let's see, what was this? This says, oh no, this was this was the warning strike, and this is now the actual strike that we got. So you can see the warning strike was us reporting on Louisiana, our, how do you spell,
Archdiocese.
Archdiocese asked Catholics to avoid the Johnson & Johnson, COVID stuff.
vaccine.
Yeah. So that was, it says medical misinformation. Even though we weren't spreading that medical misinformation, we were reporting on this, Catholic group doing it. We were just saying that it was on the news. We were just covering the news, and we were against it, and saying we're spreading medical misinformation. Like we weren't. We were actually tackling medical misinformation. Okay. And we were saying that even though we were tackling, we were telling people not to trust us and go and find expert opinions. It's so, I don't know. And then we appealed because I thought like it's impossible for this appeal to get rejected unless there's algorithms that are reviewing the appeal. Any human intervention would have clearly seen, like, it's unbelievable for me that this appeal was rejected. And also, I don't think anybody reviewed it because it was like this. It was rejected like this. There's no way somebody watched the video. So maybe we're gonna appeal this one as well. And by the way, look, Susanna worked on all of this for our appeal. Like, we're gonna try to come up with a case and everything. Look at all this. This is Susanna's work. Look at this. Look at all the stuff she did. And we're gonna appeal it, but we're gonna see how seriously they'll take this appeal. Maybe if we refresh it, maybe last time, we'll see if it gets rejected like this as well, right? So this is the new strike. This one is for hate speech. Do you want to read this title, because I don't know how to pronounce her name?
Can you open it so I can see the full title, please?
Okay, before I open it, no, here you can. Okay, fine.
It gives you the full title. Just go appeal.
Okay, appeal.
Okay, so it is Shamima Begum, UK teen who joined ISIS, not allowed to return home to fight for citizenship.
So this was a video that we covered, and here is, and this was stricken for got a strike for hate speech. Okay, and here they explain what's hate speech. You want to read this one?
Okay. Content glorifying or inciting violence against another person or group of people is not allowed on YouTube. We also don't allow any content that encourages hate of another person or group based on their membership in a protected group. We review educational, documentary, artistic, and scientific content on a case-by-case basis. Limited exceptions are made for content with sufficient and appropriate context where the purpose of posting is clear. So, I also want to point out that in YouTube's hate speech policies that they have listed on their website, they give many, many, many examples of what they consider hate speech. Most of that is examples of someone explicitly promoting the inferiority of a group or superiority of another group in relation to the many protected categories that they list on their website.
Right. So I'm going to play this on double speed. Okay. So it's 30-minute video, but we're going to watch it in 15 minutes. I just want for people to see, be honest, guys, even if you really want to crack down on hate speech, even the slightest suggestion of hate against a group of people, just tell me if there's any hate speech here. Okay. Put yourself in a position of somebody that wants to let's say it's okay. Let's say even if you're it seems like you're promoting hate speech in any way. Let's say it's justified to completely remove that, okay, on YouTube, right? Based on YouTube's own terms, based on what they think it's hate speech, okay? I'm not trying to say we're not judging the community guidelines, right? I'm not saying the community guidelines are bad, okay? Okay, the community guidelines are good and they keep the platform safe and everything. But I'm just saying, based on their own definition of hate speech, based on what they say, can this video be considered hate speech? Before I play the video,
enforcement that we have a problem with.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So before we actually show the video, which one is the? Oh, here. Do you want to read This is Susanna. What we want to submit is going to be.
Should I just read that when we actually submit it?
Okay, sure. So let me play this. You want me to play the video first, right? Before we're gonna. This is where we're gonna put that explanation, and then we're gonna click submit here. Okay, so we're appealing this process, but let's watch this first. Let me know if you have video.
Screen it? No, like the actual video.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, good idea. Actually, I didn't know. Yeah. All right. Let me know if you have audio. Okay. Wait.
I do.
Way to make this 1080p? No. Oh shit. Where did it go? I don't know what this how.
Go down. Appeal. There we go.
Okay.
Shamima Begum, UK teen who joined ISIS. Oh shoot, I said it. ISIS.
Who cares? This we're demonetized.
Wow.
Not allowed to return home to fight for citizenship. So this actually surprised me that we are allowed to go live on Twitch right now with ISIS in the title. Usually Twitch would be too sensitive about letting us start.
Yes.
Interesting.
So why put it in the title? Okay, it's okay.
Because that's the first news. So on March 12th, the United Kingdom Supreme Court ruled that quote-unquote ISIS bride, we say ISIS because YouTube algorithm be finicky, Shamima Begum will not be granted permission to come back to the UK to appeal in court for her UK citizenship. For those who don't know, in 2015, Shamima left the UK for Syria, along with her 2 school friends to join ISIS. I was like 15 years old. Around that age. Later, in 2019, her citizenship was stripped when she was found in a northern Syrian refugee camp. In 2020, the UK Court of Appeals ruled that Shamima would be allowed to return to the UK to fight the case that revoked her citizenship, which, by the way, rendered her essentially stateless. Lord Robert Reed, the president of the Supreme Court, said that the Court of Appeals made 4 errors when it permitted Shamima to carry out her appeal. The Supreme Court ruled that Begum will be allowed to appeal against her citizenship being revoked only when her participation does not compromise public safety. Human rights campaigners and legal experts have heavily criticized the court's decision to withdraw Shamima's citizenship. Hey guys, before we get back to that video, YouTube has fully demonetized our channel for supposedly hateful and harmful conduct, without telling us what we did wrong. If we get to 1,000 patrons, we will be able to keep paying all our team, our editors, our artists without ever having to worry about monetization again, which would be amazing. Yay! So please support Atheist Republic on Patreon. Link in the description below.
I know this is an unpopular position of mine, given that we have an anti-Islamic atheist channel here. And I know people are like, oh, Armin, you're so soft on this. I thought you were, very firebrand atheist. I don't care. You people are like, oh, so many people have come at me for this position of mine. The more I look into it, the more I'm convinced that my position is right, and all of you are wrong. This was a bad idea. Revoking, if somebody joined a group and did criminal stuff, you bring them, you put them on trial, you punish them for the crimes that they committed. Revoking citizenship is just like devaluing the meaning of what it means to be a citizen. Like the idea of people think like, oh, this is so good because she deserves it and all. You're basically undermining what it means to be a UK citizen, right? People would say, oh, once you do certain crimes, then your rights go out the window. No, you keep your rights, but you still get punished. Like, so the understanding is that human rights are for everybody, including the worst of all people, right? What your human rights gives you, like under enlightened countries like the United Kingdom, are supposed to give you freedom and mobility, and safety from any punishment, given that you don't commit certain crimes. And then once you commit certain crimes, you get to defend yourself. Given that you're a citizen of that country, you have some rights to represent yourself and then to a trial. And once you are proven to be guilty, your rights does not mean that you're not going to get punished for those crimes, but you still have rights. Even when you get punished, you're not going to get unusual treatments. The punishment is not going to be cruel and unusual. All of that will stay there. It doesn't mean that so we already have that in the system, that no matter the crimes, you commit a crime and you get punished for it. It's not you commit a crime and your rights go away. Your rights stay there and you still get punished for it. Like this idea of your citizenship being revoked because your crime was too, like what else are you going, like so you're saying this lady, her crime was too bad, so we're going to revoke her citizenship, right? So what about what else are we going to revoke citizenship for, like in the UK? If somebody commits murder, is that not going to, this woman, she didn't herself commit murder, right? She just, right? So she joined a very problematic group. Are we now, so if somebody in the UK commits murder, are you going to revoke their citizenship? Why not, right? This is insane. Like people think like this is justified because this is a unique situation. This is like, oh, because she's going to be unsafe to UK citizens. How is she going to be unsafe? How is she going to cause security issues? If she's guilty, she's going to go to jail. She's going to be under watch. She's going to come and she could be interviewed for better security measures. She could be studied. She could be analyzed psychologically. There's so many benefits in having her in prison in the UK for her crimes, getting punished, and also under watch for security reasons, and also for intelligence agencies to have access to a lot more information going forward. This is insane. Like revoking someone's citizenship because the crime was too bad. Like what? Like you completely the entire country's citizenship has been devalued because UK citizens are afraid of one woman that is not going to be able to cause harm to anybody else. But go on. Who wants to go?
Well, their intelligence agencies say that she prepared suicide bombers. That she stitched them into explosive vests. Okay, and that she was also involved in working for the ISIS morality police. In the various communities that she was a part of. So there's a lot that goes in
interviews that I believe there were, on that note, just to add, there were some interviews that she gave where she didn't seem to renounce that ideology.
Oh yeah, she said that Armin, this isn't a refutation of what you're saying. I'm just giving
I know. I'm just saying that your citizenship doesn't go away depending on the severity of the crimes you commit. Keeping your citizenship still does mean that you get punished according to the crimes you committed, right? It doesn't the idea of citizenship just being able to be taken away is just like throwing out the baby. Like it's just like everything about what it means to be a UK citizen is now under question because of people's fear-mongering and hate over one person that could have been under security watch, could have been in prison. Like her going back to UK was not going to be a security issue for anyone in the UK.
Yeah, but I was just giving more details. So
I didn't interrupt you. So Rick interrupted you.
And you interrupted the interrupt.
Well, I get to do that because
it's your culture.
Oh yes, it's my culture. right, go ahead.
So Ghost Bunny is asking, did she marry into ISIS or did she just go and join? Also, if that's all she did, is it possible that she was brainwashed into this by pretty religious texts? It shouldn't revoke her citizenship, though. So it's she did marry an ISIS militant who is now incarcerated. She had 3 children by him, all of whom have died in Syria, I believe. I don't know if she was already engaged to him while she headed there. But she joined with she went with 2 other girls when she was 15, and those 2 other girls died. They were killed in
right.
by bomb drone strikes.
Okay, so Kimberly's saying, can you promise that though, that she's not going to be a security threat? No, Kimberly, I can. So, and I also, let's do that with everybody then in UK. Everybody, like, if somebody commits murder, revoke their citizenship, throw them away. If somebody like steals, if somebody harasses people, I can't promise that, if you punish them, if somebody commits murder in the UK and they're a UK citizen, instead of like using their, getting them to come to court and punish them, just revoke everyone's citizenship. Because who knows, maybe if they're still in the UK, I can't promise that they're not going to commit murder again. Just revoke people's citizenship. Why not? Just go left and right, and everybody that is could potentially somehow be a security threat, just revoke everyone's citizenship. Just see guys, you don't understand what this means to the core. What this whole idea of revoking citizenship? What does it do to the core meaning of what it means to be a UK citizen? You're basically redefining your entire citizenship. You're changing what your country, the values that your entire country has been founded upon from the very core. Just because one woman, you're afraid of one woman. You can't be like, hey, maybe we should maybe add more security and put this. Hey, maybe there's other ways you could fix the fear that you have about the security issue with one woman, rather than completely changing all the values that this country has been founded upon.
Well, and one thing we're not noting is that this is actually a violation of the United Nations. Like, I can't remember what specific convention or agreement or whatever, but rendering someone stateless is like. Well, I believe not illegal because it doesn't. The UN doesn't enforce law, but she was rendered stateless, which in the UK did this because they believed that she had a precedent of being able to get a Bangladeshi citizenship because that's where her parents are from. However, her ability to get a Bangladeshi citizenship was removed when she became involved with a terrorist group. That is not according to Bangladesh's laws. They revoke it or your ability to go get that.
We say terrorist because we're worried that using the T word might get us demonetized here as well. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I have a couple things to say. I think to your point, Armin. So the idea that citizenship can now be conditional is, for most people, probably a little bit anathema to their understanding of what it means to be a citizen of the country. And also, it's the fact that people have rights, regardless of who they are, what they do, is some of the foundation of British common law, that you have certain rights. You also, and especially in the United States, which we use British common law, that you can't convict somebody on something they might do or they haven't yet done, so to speak. So that's like a thought crime situation. And so all of this is pretty interesting that all of a sudden citizenship is now conditional. With regard to bringing her back, and she did this terrible thing, so there's sort of this we have to punish her somehow. That also takes away another huge part of jurisprudence, which is judges. That's what it means to be a judge. That they can, because of the extenuating circumstance, they could give her a more harsh sentence. They could say that she has to be in solitary so many hours a day, or she can't access newspapers, or whatever. That's what judges do also. So when you take that away, you're undermining jurisprudence as well. Right. I do understand the emotion behind it because people are upset, and I also understand that they don't want to pay as taxpayers for the. I know, but that's something that people have to understand. That's happening with all kinds of other things too. But I know that was like some things I heard people express. So, but taking away, that's why I say it happens with lots.
I know this is not a response to you. You're right, but this is a response to them. Taxpayer money has to go to where it's jurisprudence for people who commit crime. I'm sorry. Oh wow, we're paying taxpayer money for putting people in trial who are citizens of our country. You want to save money by not doing that, by kicking them out? Guys, you
understand? They did it before.
What do you mean?
I mean, like America and Australia was a criminal colony.
So they deported criminals. But I wanted to make another point about the Bangladeshi thing. There's a difference between being a citizen and having it being conditional upon certain behavior, or not being a citizen of a country and then applying to come. That's the point where they can say, look, you're not a citizen here, so we don't have to accept you based on your criminal history. So I just wanted to clear that up in case some people were like, well, if Bangladesh says she's not allowed to come, that's different.
I don't think people from UK even understand how significant this is, the cost that this is going to do. United Kingdom is one of the main countries that is the foundations of Enlightenment values, which became the role model for the rest of the goddamn planet, right? And you guys are basically throwing these out the window left and right for the sake of an extra security from one woman. You're not going to get the extra security. It's not even going to give you the security. But even if it did, you guys, the price that you're paying for undermining the foundations of the Enlightenment values that your entire country became superior for because of them, and because of other countries who followed your model, you and France's model, every other country that followed these models became better countries. And this is what you lose when you throw away rights left and right. This is the most cliche way of how countries and how people lost their rights for the sake of security. Like you guys, people are like, oh my gosh, you might do this and that. You have no idea how cliche and how repetitive this is. Like how many times this has happened, where people were like, "Woo!" and give me your rights. They're coming for it, for me to give you safety, guys. And another thing that this is how why people need to read history. This is how they take away your rights, okay? By showing you the worst of people, guys. I always say human rights are only human rights if they protect the worst humans. Free speech is the only free speech if it protects the worst kind of speech. Okay, this is a test. Human rights doesn't need defending if it's only good people, because everybody can fall in line in defending the human rights of good people, right? This is when you know if you're on the side of human rights. This is when they come and try to take your human rights away, they're not going to challenge you by taking away the human rights of people that you can be sympathetic to. They come and take away the human rights by coming up with examples of people that you can sympathize with, that are horrible people. That's how they challenge your human rights. This is when you know that you need to stay strong when it comes to defending human rights. And again, a lot of people don't understand, when you defend the human rights of the worst kind of people, you're not defending those people as good people. That's why people are like, well, Armin, like you're defending this horrible human being who joined this horrible group. Like, no, I'm not. I'm defending the human rights for the worst people. That's why I acknowledge that these are not good people. That's why I'm trying to defend their human rights, because other people don't do that because they're garbage people, right? Because they're garbage people, it's not very pleasing, and it's not very popular to come defend their human rights. And that's when you know you have to step up, because other people won't. Susanna.
Well, I wanted to follow up on Rivka's point about the difference between, and here's what's really important. She is born in the UK. She is a native English woman, okay? So a lot of people are, like, when you're trying to gain citizenship of a country, yes, you do have to have conditions to be able to gain the rights of that citizenship. That's natural. But she was born in the UK. And so some of the discourse I've seen about this is people are talking about accusations of racism behind this. They're like, we don't revoke citizens for white boys who are neo-Yazis. We say Yazis because the YouTube algorithm in the UK. So they're trying to draw a comparison there and saying, like, well, are we going to start doing this for other people? Or is this because she's like a second generation immigrant? Like, what's with the differential treatment? Is this our standard now? Are we now going to treat, other types of extremism from native citizens the same way? I think that might be different, complicated by the fact she actually left the country to do this. But I do also want to show some interesting photos of her.
Just before you do that, I just want to mention that I'm A-okay for not giving citizenship or even residentship to people with this background. Okay?
Of course.
Like, yeah. But once they have it, now you have given them, they have every right. Okay, here's how people, I'm telling you, people have no idea what we're saying. Kimberly's saying she joined the Terry group. I'm not exactly sure how you can expect people to not slightly assume that it would be an issue of her living in a society with an entire difference of that. Kimberly, you're not even paying attention to anything we're saying. You completely missed every single point that we have brought up. Has flight over your head completely. I don't know if you're even listening. Okay, we're saying that the solution to this security issue is not to undermine every single what it means to be a UK citizen and the enlightenment values that your country is dependent. It's like, hey, we have bugs in the house. Oh, okay, no, I shouldn't do that. People think I'm dehumanizing. Oh, I don't know, like there's something wrong with the house. Burn the whole house down. That's what you guys are doing instead of fixing it. There's infinite number of other solutions to this concern that you're bringing up other than revoking a citizenship based on the level of crime somebody's committed. That is definitely not the answer. I am so sure that this is not the answer. And the fact that you're like, oh, you think this shouldn't be a concern? That means that you're not even paying attention closely to anything we're saying.
It's not even an expectation that we think that other people shouldn't be concerned.
Yeah,
but we're concerned.
We're gonna be like, oh yeah, guys, don't be concerned about something. Like, when do we say like don't be concerned? When do we say don't be concerned? God damn it, you guys don't know what this is. And no, I will not calm down. And no, I will not chill. Okay, Susie, go ahead.
That's Rivka.
So also you were talking about security, and then I wanted to make a point based on some of the things that the foreign minister or whomever, I can't remember in the UK, said that she could come back and face, the court, the writ of habeas corpus, bring the body to the court, that's what it means, when the security situation is resolved. And that's a trick that lots of governments do to never actually make a decision and to keep people in a state of limbo forever. Because you can always say, well, the security situation is not resolved as soon as we have 100% certainty, or as soon as, so it's constantly kicking the can. And there's plenty of groups of people who are supposed to vote on things with UN, for example, I was thinking about in Western Sahara, have been waiting to vote on things for 30 years because they keep saying, well, as soon as the security situation is resolved. So this is, I feel like, in my opinion, very bad because they're not making a stand one way or the other. So if you really believe this, then you should be saying it and you should be making the case for it, whether it's right or not. But by doing this, it's a total cop-out and it just leaves this huge vacuous hole. And then I wanted to make one other point about the idea of someone who is a born citizen. This has been conferred upon her. She is a citizen of the UK. So there doesn't seem to be conditions on that. And when you're defending that, you're not defending it for all these bad people. You're defending these rights for yourself because this is what becomes a slippery slope. If you can't grant human rights to people that you don't like, then what's the guarantee that the people that you like are going to be in power next week? Now you could be the person that people don't like. And I'm not trying to compare an average person's behavior with hers, but this is what Armin's talking about when he's talking about the erosion process.
Right. But even, I mean,
and the last thing I just wanted to say is that, see, now I forgot, but that's the erosion process you're talking about, that you start losing rights in all kinds of other ways. It becomes the slippery slope then. And I have one more thing, but now I can't remember what it was.
Right. But even if it doesn't,
thanks a lot, Armin.
You're welcome. Even if it doesn't come to you directly, but people have to understand is that the reason why some countries are better than other countries is because of a certain set of values, right? So which is the foundations of those countries that make those countries perform better, right? So even if they don't come to you, like, I'm not saying, oh, they're going to come and revoke your citizenship tomorrow if you don't defend this person, right? You probably will never get even close to that, right? But it's just these are if you just keep attacking the foundations that make some countries better than others, you're going to pay for it later, like in some other way, right? That eventually is going to lead to people being more okay with certain values, certain rights to be questioned, right? And so we've seen that in UK more than other places, more than other enlightened countries already. So that's why I feel. Susie, you want to show something?
Oh, I mean, I was already showing pictures.
I remembered what I was going to say. So Armin was making the comment that when you say, I think that the citizenship shouldn't be conditional and this was the wrong move, you're not in any way defending the person's actions. You're defending the concept of citizenship.
Right.
And so it's the same idea when a person is entitled to a legal defense, because they have certain rights. That doesn't mean that you agree with them or you like them as a person. None of that has to be one and the same thing in any way.
Right. Okay. So and also just one last point before, because we spent too much time. Some people say she doesn't represent our values. Like some people in the left are saying, like, oh, she doesn't deserve to be a UK citizen because she doesn't represent our values.
You're not representing your values. No, you.
Why do you steal that line from me? That was what I was going to say. Yes, but yeah, exactly as she just said, because she noticed. Okay, so yeah, so you think this woman doesn't represent UK values? You, the person that thinks that our rights are dependent on how big the crime is, you don't even understand what UK values are, right? So not only you as a person who's saying this woman doesn't represent our values, which I agree with you, she doesn't represent United Kingdom values, but you are a threat to the foundations of the values of the United Kingdom more than this woman, right? Because she is, at the edges, right, representing a fringe group in the UK. You are going at the values of the United Kingdom at its very core. You are becoming a greater monster than the one that you're trying to defeat. You do not represent the values of the United Kingdom. Rivka.
I have one last thing to say to your point. You are what you do. you can say anything you want, but if you're not willing to act upon your values or your ethics, then on some level, then it's pretty meaningless. So how you represent your values is by living them, acting them out, and making them a living organism that represents everybody, regardless of how much you disagree with her ideology or how much you think that she's a terrible person or whomever. So the way you represent your values is by holding to those values, which say that citizenship is not conditional on certain behaviors or certain actions. I mean, you can say a crime is so horrible that you could be put to death. The state does that, not necessarily whether I agree with it or not, but they have set those limits. But at no point are they saying we're taking away your existence as an American or a Brit or whatever.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.
All right. So Susanna, let's be steelman this as much as possible. Let's take the YouTube side. Was there anything like because my impression has been that we were supporting human rights, okay? But I might be biased, okay? To me, it seemed like this was the opposite. Like if hate speech is hate speech, this video seemed to be the exact opposite.
Give a nuanced rebuttal.
What we were doing, we were promoting human rights. We were promoting not throwing away the protection and the human rights that people deserve. Okay? And we were protecting the human rights of a Muslim woman, right? That belongs to a minority race that has committed some, joined a terrorist group, but yet we believe that she still deserves for her rights to be protected, even though she did something really bad, right? And if the hate speech is because we're anti-minority groups or Muslims or something, this was obviously not it, because we were defending the Muslim, we were defending the person from the minority race group. So it can't be hate speech towards a minority group because we were defending her, right? If it's hate speech because we were saying that she shouldn't lose her citizenship because she joined ISIS, that doesn't mean that she should lose her citizenship. Then are we saying that the entire court system in the United Kingdom seems to agree with us, right? Wait, did she lose her citizenship? No, right? Oh, no,
Yeah,
she did.
She did.
Okay, no, sorry, not the entire court system. Maybe like the human rights groups that are against the court system in the UK, right? So there are human rights organizations that think this is wrong, right? They agree with us, right? So are they all promoting hate speech? Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, YouTube is an American company. At least I know in the United States, people don't lose their citizenship, even if they commit the worst terrorist group acts of all time. Like they could do the greatest act of terror in history in the United States. You don't lose your citizenship because of that, right? So is YouTube as a American company disagreeing with that at this point, right? I don't understand this, right? So if you want to steelman this legitimize, like saying this strike was justified, did you see anything that we could steelman here, Suze?
I'm thinking in terms of like what an algorithm might flag. So I'm going to be like extremely liberal in this interpretation. But you were saying like garbage human a few times. But you weren't referring to anyone on the basis of an identity group. You were referring to people who were bad through their behaviors. That's not bigotry on anyone's immutable characteristic. You're saying we defend the rights of garbage humans because it's their human rights, referring to people who do things that are a harm to society on a mass scale, not on the basis of any protected group as defined by YouTube.
Yeah, so no, what I was trying to say is like even the worst human beings deserve their rights to be protected. That's what I was trying to say, right? Even the people who have done the worst crimes, the human rights, you don't throw away their rights. I mean, you punish them. By punishing them is not denying their rights. Like for example, if you put somebody in jail for the crimes that they committed, you're not taking away their rights of free mobility away from them, because the right of mobility, free mobility, was conditional on them not being a threat to society. So we're just saying like we do not violate human rights even when we're punishing people. We always upheld everyone's human rights, even the worst people. That's why I was using. So you think maybe the putting of the word garbage next to that certain people, maybe you two think that I was promoting hate speech, but yeah, you're right. I wasn't.
Possibly, because you were saying you were defining someone, you were judging someone as worst on the basis of their behaviors, not on the basis of any group.
Yeah, no, like we were talking about one individual. We weren't talking about nowhere. Yeah, actually, this is a very important point that Susanna is bringing up, because nowhere in this video did we even talk about an entire group of people, right? Like, even like, how is this even hate speech? Because the topic never even mentioned a minority group. Like as a group, like we didn't even pass judgments positively, negatively, or defending anybody. Like sometimes we defend people based on their groups that they belong to and think like they should be protected. But in this video, we didn't even protect anybody based on their group that they belong to. We were just talking about one individual.
So we didn't even really talk about the fact that she was Muslim.
Yeah, we didn't. We didn't mention her ethnic. We didn't mention her religion. We didn't even mention her ethnicity. We were just talking about this one individual. How is this hate speech? How is this even hate speech against a group of people? It's one person. This is one person. God damn, this is so ridiculous. By the way, we have somebody here on Twitch. You want to read this comment?
I'm not going to read their username because it has a curse word in it. But they're saying there was not a shred of hate speech within that entire clip. I think this is just another example of YouTube screwing up the enforcement of their own community rules.
Which is fine. Here's the thing. I'm going to be so charitable to YouTube right now, okay? It's fine. YouTube is a giant platform. They're going to get things wrong, okay? Of course. You can't just... They don't have like a giant army of people to review every video, okay? But at least make the appeal process a little bit, like the appeal process at least needs a little bit more intervention. Because, okay, let's look at, we're going to go through the appeal process, okay? So let's say like, okay, fine, YouTube, like they're going to YouTube's algorithm is going to misfire. They're not going to be able to detect everything, okay? We're going to be charitable. Maybe like, we know how hard it is to monitor our groups. We have like our own page and our own Facebook groups, and it's, people judge us for not getting things right, and they don't understand that we are short staffed and we can't analyze everything in detail, okay? But then we give them, okay, like if we get something wrong, there's an appeal process, and we do this with no resources, okay? We take the appeal process a little bit more seriously, okay? But let's see how the appeal process works, okay? So hopefully this time, because last time when we appealed, it was rejected like this without anybody actually taking a look at it. Like it was humanly impossible for anybody to have looked at it, because the video was longer than the time that it took them to reject our appeal, right? So there's no way anybody actually came and took a look at it, right? So this is what Susanna... So I had my own verbiage on what to put in the appeal process. Susanna, being a lot more, professional, came up with her own version. So this is what Susanna wrote. Do you want to read what we're about to post?
Sure. So when I write an appeal, I do it in a very lawyerly fashion. I go to the company's policy and I go look at its language exactly, and then I go through point by point about how that doesn't apply to our case. So that's what I did here. This video does not violate YouTube's hate speech policies because it is an educational video. No host on a news show glorified or incited violence or encouraged hatred against any individual or protected group as defined by YouTube. This video was specifically made to defend the human rights of protected minority groups and their right to legal due process. YouTube's policy has an explicit exception for educational content, specifically, quote, content that includes hate speech if the primary purpose is educational, documentary, scientific, artistic in nature. This video fits squarely within this exception because it includes coverage of a news story in an educational context. News about extremist groups in the context of reporting and education does not violate any YouTube policy on hate speech. Even if this exception did not apply, this video at no point promoted hate or harmful conduct. So, I just want to explain something really quickly. I talk about this not applying because there's an exemption for educational content. Like, some people might say that as being like, oh, that means you're admitting that this was hateful, but it doesn't apply because it's educational. I just wanted to use all aspects of the policy that I thought played in our favor in this appeal. So I think the fact that this is an educational video does give us extra coverage beyond the fact that there isn't even hate speech in this to begin with. If something about this is considered hate speech, it is provided in an educational context, and explicitly so. As we saw in the channel dashboard when we were looking earlier, it says that it has to be provided with appropriate context. Like, I think we provided more than enough appropriate context if anyone finds anything about that hateful towards a group.
I can't get over the fact that the video that they're giving us a strike for hate speech is the one that the people who have an issue with it is because maybe we're promoting human rights too much. You know what I mean? Like this is a video. Not only this is not hate speech, okay? The issue that our audience has with me, with what I was saying in this video, is that we're too extreme, because people are like, this is ISIS, Armin. This is ISIS group. I'm so dedicated to promoting human rights that I'm like, guys, this is the time that you promote human rights, okay? I'm not defending the actions of this person. I'm defending being within the framework of respecting people's human rights, even if they are, if they have committed the worst acts, right? And people who don't like what I'm saying like this, they think that these are not the people who deserve their rights to be protected because they have gone too far. And I'm like, there's no limits. Human rights, if you say these are human rights but not for these people, then you're not supporting human rights. You're only supporting the rights of the humans that you like. You're not supporting human rights, you're supporting the rights of humans that you like. And I'm extending human rights to everybody, to include everybody. This is like, so like, I can't get over how anti-hate speech this is. Like, this is the mother of all anti-hate speech videos. Like, if anything is not hate speech, is this video. Susie, you want to say something?
I forgot what I was going to say, but I completely agree. Like, no, I remember. This is actually the type of video that someone who is being hateful, this is exactly what they would need to see. And that's why we talk about it.
And this is the kind of video that the people who are for hate. The people who hate minorities.
They think that we're too soft.
They hate this. They're like, these people have gone insane. The people who love hate speech look at this video as a sign that we have gone insane. They don't like this video, but the people who are on the side of hate speech hate this video. All right. So I copied that. Let's just make sure we got it. So I'm going to paste this here. Oh, no, it's too long. Damn. Where did it end? How far did it go?
Wait, I'm pulling this up in a character counting thing. I can edit this to be shorter right now.
All right.
Oh, it's 800 characters is the limit?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Just do it fast. I don't want this video to get any longer. Yeah, I think we could just take the first part out. Right here. Here, let me see. There, I got it. Here. I just took the first 2 sentences out.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's repetitive. All right. Ready to go?
Mhm.
Submit?
Mhm.
Okay. Appeal submitted. Okay. You get an email after review is complete. Let me see maybe how long because last time it was rejected almost immediately. So wow, it wasn't rejected almost immediately. So maybe we'll see. Okay. All right. So by the way, before we end this video, I just want to say our monetization was also rejected. Okay. And it says in July 24th we can apply again, but I'm not going to apply again because I'm worried if we reapply again for monetization, they're going to find another video to strike, right? And even though, so if you look at the current strike that we have right now, the penalty is only 1 week, so we get to post and stream and everything again and in 1 week. However, the strike will remain on the channel until September 23. So I don't want to apply for monetization again because before September 23, because if we have one strike and then we apply for monetization and that will encourage them to give us another strike, then it will add up to this one strike that we have. So I'm going to have so even though we can apply again for monetization on July 23, I'm going to wait until September 23 for this strike to be removed, which is so insane. Like I have to wait that long for us to be able to, unless the strike is removed, right? But then we're going to have to go, guys, that means like for us to apply for monetization, we're going to have to go and remove another 200 or 300 videos before
And
we apply.
also not get paid for our work for like 6 months at the least.
Yes. And also, we're never going to talk about ISIS or any radical group, even if it's something important that we need to cover. We're not going to talk about Al-Qaeda. We're not going to talk about ISIS. We're not going to cover that anymore. Why would we risk our channel? Like, even if it's just the news, we can't talk about it because we're going to put our channel at risk. So now we're not even going to talk about COVID. We already decided not ever talk about COVID on our YouTube channel, right? Because even if we're like saying the things that are against the conspiracy theories, YouTube might give us a strike like last time. And now we can't talk about ISIS and Al-Qaeda or any radical group because I think just that being in the title or us talking about it could get us a strike. So we're not going to talk about that anymore. But this is insane. Like this is what we have to deal with. Like this is not a welcoming environment for content creators unless you're a big channel and you have connections. That's these other channels. Like me and Suz watch these right-wing channels, and they say stuff that is so racist. So and they have monetized. They are monetized and they don't have strikes. How are they getting away with saying such racist things on these right-leaning channels? It's so, and we're fighting against it, and we're getting strikes. Like I'm like, sometimes I'm watching things with Susie, like, oh my god, this goddamn.
We're shocked.
We're shocked of how racist it is, and they have their full monetization and membership and everything. And we're not saying any of those things, and we don't when we get this treatment because they're bigger channels, so they have connections probably. We need somebody to give us some connections at YouTube because anybody reviewing this would know that this channel is not promoting hate speech. Look at this is small content creators. Like this is the stress that we have to deal with. We could lose this entire channel over nothing. How is this? We're already been lost our monetization for 2 months, and now we could lose our entire channel. Right now, we can't post, we can't stream, we can't even look at this. We can't even tell our here. We now have to stream on my personal channel. We're gonna cover the news today, right? We instead of on Atheist Republic, we have to cover the news on my personal channel, right? But we can't even post in our community tab to tell we're out of touch with our community because look, due to community guidelines strikes, we can't create a post right now. So we can't even tell our community why we're not streaming. We can't even tell them to come maybe find us somewhere else. We have no access to them. So we're going to be streaming with no audience on my personal channel. We can't even hey guys, come watch us here. right now. Like, they completely cut us off over this. It's so insane. It's so insane. Like, there needs to be alternatives. And I mean, even if there is alternatives, it's really hard to build from scratch and get all the way back to up to here. We need somebody at YouTube to like look at this. Like, if you know somebody at YouTube that could help us out,
Email me at Susanna at
This book is meant to be.
atheistrepublic.com.
say that again.
Susanna at atheistrepublic.com is how
Susanna?
people should get in touch with us if they know someone at YouTube or in their network who is there.
Yeah. So you can see Susanna. You can see Susanna's name there is spelled, and you can see at the top left at Atheist Republic. So Susanna at atheistrepublic.com. Please email Susanna if you have anybody at YouTube that could take a look at this, because I don't think anybody could deny that the two strikes and the demonetization of our channel, I am so sure that is unjustified. Like, I'm trying to be biased because it's our channel, so I might be biased. I'm trying my best to not be biased and try to see maybe, like, are we actually promoting hate speech? Are we actually promoting misinformation?
Right.
Like, I'm really trying to be like, maybe I'm blind. Maybe I'm like maybe I am so biased that I'm not seeing it. So somebody who is seeing it, because I'm biased and I'm not seeing it, somebody explain this to me, because I'm not seeing it. Am I this blind? Like, are we actually promoting hate speech and I'm this blind to it? Because I have bigger issues if I'm this blind to it. Like, forget our channel. Like, am I this blind to my own motivations and what we're doing here? Because that's like a crisis that I need to go through. Like, I need to go through a path of self-discovery that I'm this blind to, that I don't like. I think like we're fighting hate speech, but if I am this insane not to notice that we're actually promoting hate speech, then I need some therapy. I need some people to like tell me how delusional I am, like, because I'm not seeing it. I'm so sure that we're not promoting hate speech. Like, I'm so sure. Yeah, I'm doubting my own mind right now. Anyways.
No, same.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna end this here. Thank you, guys. Anybody who stayed until here with us, thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate that. And please, again, please, if you know anybody that could take a look at our case at YouTube, again, Susanna at atheistrepublic.com. Please email Susanna and let her know. That's what we need, okay? We need a connection. Like, nothing else really helps right now. We just need a connection, okay?
We need an advocate, yeah.
Somebody just could look at our case. Just look at our case. Not even an advocate. We don't need to be on our side. Just look at our case. All right. Bye, guys.